All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, after a disappointing year on the gridiron for the Florida Gators, a coaching change has been made as they moved on from Dan Mullen in favor of Billy Napier. And I know that this happened earlier this month, but I want to talk about it in retrospect now that the Gators season is officially over following their bowl loss last night to UCF. Now, Napier joins a Florida program after he went 39 and 12 in the last 4 years as a head ball coach at Louisiana. And after having immense success in the Sun Belt Conference, is Napier ready for life in the SEC? Now, Napier inherits a Gators program that was ranked 12th in total offense during the regular season, but they sputtered in regards to scoring points at times. Inconsistency was the name of the game for Florida this year, and that is something that has to be addressed. And I think we saw that once again last night in the bowl loss. Now, Napier is taking over a program that made a New Year's Six bowl game in each of the three previous years. So we know that the talent is there. Florida grossly underachieved as they only won two games in the SEC this year and finished last in the SEC East. Recruiting, of course, recruiting was an issue at times for Dan Mullen. He's never been known as a strong recruiter. But I think Napier really understands that. And of course, the powers that be at Florida understand that, else they wouldn't have brought him in, because you look at what Kirby Smart has done at Georgia, and of course what Nick Saban continues to do at Alabama, and then of course so many other programs in the toughest division, in the toughest conference rather, in college football. So it's all about being able to keep up with the Joneses. And speaking of that, for the powers that be at Florida, they don't like to see the dominance of Georgia and what Georgia has had recently. They had their ups and downs with Mark Rick, but they were always a solid program. But now, with Kirby Smart, to see them consistently get to the college football playoff, the folks in Gainesville are like, that's we don't support that. And I guarantee you, if the folks in Florida will be watching the college football playoff, they darn sure won't be rooting for Georgia. But nonetheless, trying to get back to that point, because I mean we saw the Gators, suffer some big time hiccups this year. They had to struggle just to become bowl eligible, and of course this season, unfortunately for them, was a train wreck. So right out of the chute, for Florida, their first game next year, they host Utah. And it's a situation where, okay, the Utes just won the Pac-12, and of course, you never know what to expect from that Kyle Whittingham led team. So that's their first game. Right after that, they host Kentucky. And, Kentucky is another program under Mark Stoops where you never know what you're going to get from the Wildcats. And the Wildcats are always tough defensively under head coach Stoops. So that's right out of the chute. And then Florida's fourth game is at Knoxville against Tennessee, who is making strides this year with Josh Heupel. And, they hung up some points when they came to Gainesville last year before Florida's offense really took over in the second half of that game. So that's right out of the chute for Florida. So that's going to be Billy Napier's indoctrination into the SEC. So you ask yourself, what happens short term and long term for Napier at Florida? Short term, he could possibly take it on the chin just due to the fact that it's a tough program and it's a transition period, and he's trying to, establish his program and get the guys at Gainesville that fit into his system. So it's going to be a transition process. Long term, if the powers that be in Gainesville are patient with Napier, I think he has the potential to have some success there. When I say be patient, don't come in by year two and expect them to contend for a national title. No. But I think this will be a very respectable program from day one. I think Florida will have a winning record for next season. Will they press for the SEC title right off the bat? Absolutely not. But the thing is like I think Napier is a good hire because first and foremost, who you have to keep up with in the East, and it's all about Georgia. But this season we saw Florida lose to South Carolina. We saw them lose to Missouri as well. No offense to those programs, but if you're Florida, you expect to contend with Georgia to win the East and get to Atlanta for the SEC championship game, a place that the Gators did get last year, and they gave Alabama a run for their money as Tide went on to win the national title. But nonetheless, it's a situation where you expect to be there and you want to try to keep up with the Joneses in this conference. We saw LSU just make a coaching change. Texas and Oklahoma will be joining the SEC very soon as well. You have your Auburns, you have your Texas A&Ms, your Georgias, your Tennessees, and the list just goes on and on and on. So I think Napier's the right guy for the job. I think the loss last night gives him an opportunity to go out there from day one. And I'm sure he's already been recruiting, but nonetheless, go out there and really establish his program because now I'm sure he's going to use last night's game, last night's loss as a launching pad to, as he's going to drill that into, the guys who are coming back who are already on this team. So it's going to be interesting to see how things work out for Florida. I do think that they have the right man. And, I think he does have the potential to get them where they want to be. So it's going to be interesting to see what Napier and the Gators do going forward. So, folks, that's going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take the time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you haven't already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out, drop a line, and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So, once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin. Signing off, saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.